What brings you joy will infuse massive energy and contentment in your life. Who said that quote? Actually, it's me. What's going on? It's your girl Rainey from Blessings and Gems. And today we're going to be talking about how to get your joy back. Some of us might be wondering, did I ever have joy? Or if I did have joy, where did it go? Or I think I have joy, but also it might be happiness. I'm confused. Well, today we're going to be talking about all of that. So I want you to stay with me as we go through this. The first thing I want to do before we even get into the deep, deep conversation about joy and how to get your joy back is to define what is joy. Joy is a deep emotion that's tied to your purpose and your mission and the reason why you are here. Joy is something that is long standing, it is steadfast, and it comes from your inner knowing. Joy is different than happiness. Happiness comes from an external feeling that comes from external activities or events that trigger this feeling of happiness. So they're both emotions and that both are good and we should have both, but happiness is fleeting. Have you ever noticed that you might be really excited and pumped up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee and off you go and you're going to work or you're going to volunteer or you're going about your day and then something happens and triggers you and you're no longer happy? It's because happiness is triggered by external events where joy comes from your inner woman or inner man. Some examples of happiness, and once again, as I said, happiness is good. It gives us dopamine. We feel a rush. We feel excited, but it's not going to sustain us through the hard times and through the storms that we encounter in life. And so, examples that describe happiness are things like exercise, spending time outside. It could be watching a good movie or watching something funny on TikTok, watching a funny video. It's amazing. Happiness is a good emotion, but I want you to notice the difference between the two because oftentimes we feel happy, but we don't have joy. In Galatians 5:22, it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. So there are things that you're doing, such as maybe serving, maybe you're meditating, you're praying. Could be that you volunteer or that you're serving maybe someone in your family because they're sick or they're not feeling well, or another loved one or a neighbor who's really down and out and you're helping. It comes from within and that deeper meaning and purpose that we all have in this life. So remember that joy is of the soul. Joy is in your heart, and joy is what brings you long-standing peace. I know all of us have seen either a video or we know someone personally that has or is going through horrific circumstances. And that person is a beacon of light. They are energized, they are laughing, and you're going, how in the heck is this possible? It's because it lives within them and it is unwaverable. It is unmovable because again, it is internal. We are in a time in this world where there is so much input from the news. There's input from our family members. There's input from the media. There's input from people that we didn't even ask to have input from. And there's all of these voices and all of these things that are coming into our soul and in our spirit and could disrupt our joy. And it possibly may have done that for you. It's okay. That's why you're here. We're going to learn how to get that joy back. And it's going to take some steps for you to be able to do that, which I'll cover shortly. So I want you to be careful in terms of how to fight for your joy of some of the triggers that may have stolen your joy to begin with. Number one, a lot of times our joy goes awry or it may take a back seat because we're focusing on what people say about us. Let me tell you something right now. Rejection is God's protection. Not everybody is meant to be part of your destiny. Not everybody is meant to walk alongside you in your next season of life. And it is time, and you've heard me say this in my other videos, or if you didn't, I'm going to remind you. It is time to eradicate and prune some of the people in our lives that are no longer serving us. And even those that don't, let's say they're commenting on social media, or maybe you get a weird text message or even a phone message. What people have to say about you, my friend, is none of your business. That's a quote that I heard, and I'm like, ooh, that is good, because it doesn't matter what they say about you. When you have joy, you know you have a purpose, and it doesn't matter what they say about you. It only matters what God or your creator has to say about you. And no one can take that away from you. It's not to say that you're going to not feel something. You are. You absolutely are. And you should. We're human, right? But what joy says is, even though you may feel this way about me, or even though you might be saying these things about me, I am unwaverable. I have a bubble surrounded around me, my mind, my body, my emotions, my will, my spirit, my soul, that says I am not going to bend, because I am filled with joy, and no one's going to take that away from me. The other trigger that sometimes comes up is that people don't handle us with care. There's a lot of times we love on people that just don't realize your value. You know, I love this image that someone sent to me via text message, and I wanted to share it with you, that says, learn to love the sound of your feet, walking away from things that are not meant for you. Awesome. Because they're stealing your joy, they're stealing your youth, they're stealing your vitality. You deserve more, and you have to know that life is too damn short to have someone or something take the joy away from you. So if you like what you're hearing, please like this video and consider subscribing. The most important thing, and one of the main reasons why you're here, is for us to talk about how to get your joy back. There's no magic bullet. There's not one thing that you're going to have to do, and you are going to have to do some work. The first thing I want you to do is to carve out some quiet time to investigate what brings you joy. Because joy runs deep and it overflows. It's profound. It's an inner feeling. And as I mentioned before, joy is so much different than happiness, right? Happiness is in the moment. Happiness is, hugs hello, right? It's temperamental. It comes and goes, right? Joy endures. Joy endures. So, despite the fact that happiness may feel better, joy is always present and in the moment. And that joy is even more extreme than happiness, because it's not just a temporary feeling of elation or jubilation or exhilaration, emotions that might be present, but it's the truest, highest expression of what you're doing that transforms difficult times into blessings and turns heartache into gratitude and to fulfillment. When you think about someone like Mother Teresa, for example, one of the things that she said was that the best way to show her gratitude is to accept everything, even her problems, with joy. Because there's a paradox, right, between living your life with problems, and there are things that come up, and there's negative emotions, and there's grief, and there's pain. And, it's going to take more than just a smiling face to get through it. And it's because when you have that deep joy, as Mother Teresa did, and she was living out her purpose, she could push through and even, view intense suffering and look at things that were really, really hard to see, but she was able to do it. So that's where I want you to go. I want you to go deep in your soul. And again, it's not about happiness, right? I want you to go a little bit deeper. I realize that the example of Mother Teresa might be a little heavy for most of us because most of us are not called to live a global life of service and giving. However, that does not mean that we are still unable to have inner peace and contentment and joy. So, I wanted to give you some examples as you're thinking about ways that you can cultivate joy that you might have forgotten about. So, one of the things I want you to think about is, could there be a hobby or interest that you had that really brought you this peace and this centering and grounding in your inner woman or inner man that really connected you to your passion and your purpose? Maybe it was writing. Maybe it was playing an instrument, for example. It could have also been drawing or something that was involving art in some way. Those are some of the things that many of us did as children, and some of us really were connected to those activities, and it brought us all the things that we're talking about as it relates to joy, and we've gotten away from it. So think about some of those things. It could also be some friendship groups, right? We are born to be connected and in community with one another, and being around people who are positive and who spark energy and vibrancy around you is super important. Is it time maybe to get back to those friendship groups or that friend that really, really sparked this sense of joy in your life? Another example is to think about how being outdoors affects you, whether the mountains is something that you enjoy doing or being by the sea. For me, recently, and I just did this exercise, my friend, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. I realized that regardless of where I live in America, um, pursue water, or wherever I go. Actually, anytime I'm on vacation, it's to be by the water. I moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. What did I do? I moved one block from the beach. One of the other things that I really enjoy doing, because it not only fuels my exercise and health goals, but also fuels my spiritual and this sense of joy and grounding for me, is walking. I love to walk. And when I walk, I typically choose, and it really just sort of hit me. It's like something that I knew, but I just really didn't know it until I sat down and got quiet again and reclaimed and revisited what really brings me joy. Is that I walk by the water. Anytime that I'm walking, yes, I do walk inland, but when I can, I find water, and I'm always walking along the ocean or the sea, or, by the river if there is one. It's something that brings me joy. It's my way, and it's my inner person that really thrives on this passion around fueling myself with joy or being joyful when I'm by the water. What is it for you, my friend? What is it for you? So, just like I'm going to ask you to do, I took action. I realized that I love water and swimming so much that having access to water when I'm on vacation or when I'm in certain parts of the country or in the world was not good enough. So, I recently joined a national gym because it is in alignment with my health and fitness goals, but it also allows me to have access to swimming all year round, regardless of where I'm traveling to in the United States. And that was a big move for me, because it was really me putting my money where my mouth is and remembering that not only does swimming for me fuel my physical goals, as I mentioned, it's like when I think about joy, my friend, it's like this kiss between your soul and the universe, like this sort of this indescribable moment and moments that you're having with your creator that are inexplicable. It's such a delight. It's such an inner, inner wow that you're having that you can't even explain it. And when those hard times come, and they will, and when those events happen in your life that were unplanned or unscheduled, you may not be doing that activity at that specific moment. But what practicing joy does for you and having that inner joy has is you're able to cognitively and mentally go back to those moments very, very quickly because you're actually living in those moments, maybe not physically at the moment, but in your mind, in your body, in your soul, and in your spirit. And it's always with you. And so it doesn't mean, as said before, that you're not going to have times where you're sad or unhappy. You are. But my friend, joy is going to bring you back. Joy is going to always bring you back. So it's now time to take action. So after you think about and you go through the practice of identifying something, one or two things that bring you joy, I want you to act on it. I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to ponder. I want you to get your planner or get your calendar or do whatever you've got to do and make a step in the right direction. I don't care if it's 2 months out. Make that appointment. Sign up for that lesson. Sign up for that activity. So remember that joy is free. Joy is for you. Don't let anybody take your joy. And if they've been taking it or you've allowed them to take it, you go and get that back. If you like what you heard today, please consider subscribing. Go ahead and like the video and share it with somebody who might need at this point in time to be reminded of their joy. We all have joy. I believe that we're all born with joy, but there's things that happen in our life and we need to maybe chisel through some of the hardness, some of those icky circumstances that have covered our joy and go through the steps of reclaiming our joy back. You got this, my friend. You really, really do. It was a pleasure to serve you. But before you go, in addition to subscribing or liking this video, I want you to answer the question that I have pinned in the comments. And the question is, what is one thing that you're looking forward to doing again that brings you joy? I look forward to reading your comments to see what is it. I found swimming again. What are you going to do? I want to see it. I will absolutely respond to your comments. Please share. And it was a pleasure to serve you. Until the next time, have a beautiful day. Be blessed. And I'll see you in the next video.